tuned in to the Community Cats podcast. Ready? Let's go.
Welcome to the Community Cats podcast. I'm your host, Stacy LeBaron. I've been involved helping homeless cats for over 30 years with the Merrimack River Feline Rescue Society. The goal of this podcast is to expose you to amazing people who are improving the lives of cats. I hope these interviews will help you learn how you can turn your passion for cats into action. And today, we are speaking with Nina Stively and Dr. Amy Dalrymple. Welcome to the show, both of you. Welcome, Nina.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Nina, would you take a minute just to share with folks who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. So my name is Nina Stively. I am the director of Loudoun County Animal Services in Northern Virginia. We are a municipal agency that oversees both animal sheltering and humane law enforcement for Loudoun County, which is about 450,000 people, about 45 minutes outside of Washington, D.C. And I'm a proud Gator graduate of UF's shelter medicine program.
Excellent. And Dr. Dalrymple.
Hi, thanks for having me too. I am a veterinarian and a shelter medicine specialist. I actually met Nina in the University of Florida shelter medicine program where I was a student and then an instructor. And now I am teaching shelter medicine as an elective at Tufts Veterinary School and consulting for shelters in Massachusetts.
Excellent. So my question always to all my guests is, how did you get to be passionate about cats? So Nina, I'm going to let you do a first pass at that question.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a how, but I can tell you that it wasn't always, because I think every picture of me as a small child or toddler has me, unfortunately, doing all the things we tell people to not let their kids do with cats, which is dragging them around, squeezing them, dressing them up in doll clothes. So I like to think my cat care knowledge has evolved over time, but I think that my whole life I've always been a cat lady in the making.
How about you, Dr. Dalrymple?
Well, I also dressed up my cat in doll clothes, very tolerant. But in my veterinary career, I actually was introduced to the world of shelter medicine by a feline rescue organization that I started working with them, and they paid for my membership in the Association of Shelter Veterinarians. And I thought, hey, this is really cool. So I continued my education. I learned about trap, neuter, return, got involved in that, and that led to my interest in doing some research on how we help our community cats.
So the reason we're here today is to talk about a new program that, Nina, that you have developed with the help of others to really help with your community cat program there at your organization. So I'm just going to pass the microphone over to you for a minute, and you can share what this innovative program is.
Yeah, so the program is called Tag Your Home, and we started here at Loudoun County Animal Services because, as you know, nationwide, we've come to recognize that bringing community cats into shelters is not always the best option for them. Cats who are successfully living out in the community, who are part of successful, healthy colonies, prefer to be in those places. And a lot of times being in the animal shelter is not the ideal location for these cats. And if they are free-roaming owned pet cats, then bringing them to the animal shelter doesn't mean that they're going to be found by their families. In fact, more often than not, they're not going to be found by their family, and they may be adopted by someone else. So we've tried to evaluate ways to help cats that were being brought into the shelter by people who really meant well for these cats. They find a cat in the neighborhood. They are certain the cat is hungry because, as you know, every cat claims to be hungry when they see the eyes of a sucker like mine. And when people pick up these cats, they bring them to the shelter and they say, no, you have to take the cat in. We want to help this cat. So rather than take the cat in, we had historically told people, no, put the cat back where you found it. This is best. And while it is best, it is almost heartbreaking for somebody who has done what they felt was a really good deed and brought this cat into the shelter to have to then take this cat back with essentially no knowledge of what's going to happen next. So what we do now is when folks bring these cats into us, we will put a collar on the cat that says, am I your cat? And it has a phone number on it. And then we tell them, put it back where you found it. And if the cat's still hanging around after 5 days, then we'll bring that cat into the shelter. So it gives people a little bit of an opportunity to determine whether or not the cat actually does have an owner. They feel like they still have an out to bring the cat to us at the shelter later. And it's a really nice chance for people to feel as though the loop is being closed. They really are helping these cats. Because as Dr. Dalrymple, I'm sure will tell us, the statistics are really impressive when we put it all down on paper to realize that this is the best way to keep cats out of the shelter and get them back to their homes.
I'm thrilled. I'm ecstatic. I'm just so pleased. At the Community Cats podcast, we have our paper collar template that we share with as many folks as we can. And with Dr. Dalrymple being in New England, we have had a standing tradition in New England to tell the public to use a paper collar because the last thing we want to do is ever be accused of stealing someone's cat that's out there. And so that has always been a pretty serious consideration for us in New England over the years. It's been a pretty hot topic of conversation through the many trap, neuter, return clinics that we've had on Sundays. The last thing you want to do is ear tip an owned cat. And so it really is great to empower the community to be able to identify who's caring for the cats. And I know in my experience by using a paper collar, many people meet their neighbors this way by putting a collar on the cat. And there's no more of the like getting the sugar from the neighbor. It's more like getting some cat food from the neighbor or finding out, oh, you're feeding them wet food and I'm going to feed them dry food or that type of situation. It's really the cats are becoming the connector because we are so isolated as a society. But, Dr. Dalrymple, let me ask you the questions about, number one, why haven't we been doing this for forever? It seems like it seems so obvious and so cheap. Why have we not been doing this? And what are you discovering about the program that Nina's running?
Yeah, so I think over the years, we've sort of encouraged people to come to the shelter to take care of the animals that we think need our help. And cats, we're just recognizing that there are different lifestyles in cats. Our community cats encompass a number of different, there are some cats that fully live outdoors and that's their home and they're not interested in a direct contact with humans, but we still have a relationship with them. And then on the other hand, there are our owned pets that free roam and that's their lifestyle, indoor, outdoor. But as you said, we don't all know our neighbors. We might not all know the cats in our neighborhood. So somebody may be concerned when they see a cat outdoors, especially if they have indoor cats and are not really familiar with that lifestyle. And so that part of that, I know that at Nina's agency and others have educated people like that, but people in our communities really want to help them. But nationwide, the percentage of reunification of pet cats with their owners through the shelters is as low as 3%. And so that makes us think about, well, where should they be so people can find their cats and everybody be sure that they are being taken care of. And we were at a conference and the veterinarian from Nina's shelter mentioned the beginning of this program. We're like, that's a great idea. We should examine the data and we should publish a paper so that other people know about this. And so that is what we are doing.
Are you able to share any of your initial trends or results or findings based on your research? Because I will guess what you're finding, but I would love to hear what you really are finding.
Do you want to guess first or you want me to tell you first?
I would guess 80% of the cats that were tagged had some sort of connection to a human being.
And you would be quite correct. Over 80% of the Tag Your Home program cats did not require shelter intake. And 31% of them had a confirmed return to owner rate that they heard from the owner. So that really reduced their overall intake of adult stray cats into the shelter by 9% during the study period.
So Nina, so obviously reduced the impact of intake into your program, but how did that translate? I mean, did you really feel it? Did you notice it? And how did the public receive the program?
We're a relatively large facility, so the numbers of cats coming in can fluctuate within a fair number and us still either feel it or not feel it in any other direction. However, what I'll say we felt the most was the response from the community. Is so many people really felt disappointed in us as an organization by what they felt was turning them away, what they felt we were turning away cats in need. And you can give people statistics all day long, but when they've got that cat in their hand that they are convinced has been abandoned, is starving, there's no statistics in the world that will convince them that putting that cat back out is going to do the right things. So when you have these conversations with people, and now we have the data to share with them, we say, hey, just give this a try, because we found that more than 80% of the cats in this program don't actually have to come into the shelter. You'd be surprised. And I'll tell them that I've had people call, it's my phone number on the collar. So I get the direct interaction with the owners when that happens. they'll text me and they'll say, hey, why did you have a collar on my cat? And I'll say, oh, well, we were worried your cat might be lost. We're glad to hear that it's home. Can you tell me where the cat lives? I have people living literally next door to the cat who have brought this cat in and said, I've lived here for years and I've never seen this cat a day in my life. So helping people understand, just like you were saying, we don't know our neighbors. We don't know the animals in our neighborhood. It's really important to help people feel that for themselves and understand the results are promising and that they are still doing a good thing for these cats. And in fact, they're doing the best thing for these cats by keeping them where they are.
Yeah, it is hard when they've actually brought the cat into the facility rather than having them call and say, hey, I think I've got a stray in my yard. What should I do? And when people are on the phone, I used to be like, okay, now get a piece of paper out and cut it up and put your phone number on it and tape it on the cat. Just do it for 2 weeks. And then after that, if you have no response, we'll triage them into the system. But that's different because the cat is out there, especially if it's like up here in Vermont in the middle of February. Are they going to really want to have that cat out for 2 weeks in the cold and the snow, that kind of thing? So there's this whole negotiation that goes on with the community and trying to understand that removing that cat from that place may not be actually the best alternative. But it's like we have to have this partnership. We're partnering together to assist the cat. We're not being told what to do, if that makes any sense. It's a dance that we have to do with the community rather than they're going, you have an expected service that you need to perform for me. But I would say, listen, if this was my cat and you brought the cat into the shelter, I would be missing that cat terribly. And as a steward to my community, don't you want to do everything in your best efforts to make sure that there's not a 8-year-old little girl crying in her bedroom because she misses her kitty right now? And so can you just buy 5 or 7 days to be able to ensure that there is nobody that's out there crying and missing a beloved family companion and take it from that route too? I don't know, Nina, how have you dealt with the public?
Well, I think that part of this is really just a changing conversation we need to be having with our community on what do animal shelters do? What is our purpose? And we really had a lot of resistance from the community when we went to managed admissions. And we will still take an animal that comes to the front counter, always if they are sick or injured, if they are stray dogs as mandated. But going to managed admissions has really changed the landscape of what we do in animal sheltering because it gives us a chance to get to know the animal, to make sure the shelter truly is the best place for them. And I think so much of what we do has to be reframed to the public. When you say to somebody, hey, do you have kids? And they say, yeah. And you say, well, so on the first day of school, do you just show up at school with your child and say, I expect to enroll them in class? Of course not. Say, well, and what if your kid needs an EAP or special needs of some kind? Do you show up on the first day of class and expect them to get all the services they need? Of course not. So we need to have these conversations about animals. Just because we are a government entity does not mean that we should have a lower standard of expectation for our clients than, say, the school system. So making sure you are engaging your public, having them understand what it is to be an animal shelter. This is just one piece of that pie, but it's so critical making sure people hear themselves and hear what they are saying and understand that their expectations don't necessarily translate to what it is that we do here and help them understand why.
Mark your calendar. It's happening this Saturday. Join us this Saturday to learn the art of trap, neuter, return, a powerful way to transform the lives of community cats. Brought to you by Community Cats Podcast and Neighborhood Cats. This session is for anyone who wants to turn their passion for cats into action. Whether you're a seasoned caretaker or just starting out, there's something for everyone to learn. Don't wait. Reserve your spot now at communitycatspodcast.com/get TNR certified.
Are you a proud cat parent looking for the perfect, affordable health care for your kitty? Well, look no further than the Community Cat Clinic, conveniently located in Woodstock, Georgia, just north of Atlanta and not too far from the Tennessee and South Carolina borders. The health and happiness of all cats are the top priorities at this feline-only hospital. From preventative care, spay, neuter, and vaccines, to specialized and innovative treatments like full-mouth dental, ultrasound, radio, iodine therapy, emergency blockage cases, they've got your cat's well-being covered. For the TNR community and local shelters, they offer easy-to-access, low-cost spay-neuter services and volume appointments. So if you want to do a large TNR project, this is the clinic you want to go to. It's worth the extra trip. Appointments are available most days. Check out the Community Cat Clinic online at communitycatclinic.com or visit them in person at the Walmart Shopping Center at the Shops of Trickham on Highway 92 at Trickham Road in Woodstock, Georgia. More per, less price. Want an easy grant opportunity for your animal organization? Maddie's Fund is giving away a $3,000 grant each month to one lucky Maddie's Pet Forum member. You'll automatically be entered to win each month when you start a new discussion, reply to a new post, or upload a new library resource. Learn more at forum.maddiesfund.org today.
Dr. Dalrymple, you've spent time and energy looking at the statistics and getting the information. Do you foresee this being beneficial to municipal facilities or to all programs all across the country?
I think it could be beneficial to all sorts of programs across the country. It's going to depend on your particular community and the demographics of your shelter. And that's why in our paper, it says a community case report. And hopefully it will be published in the new Journal of Shelter Medicine and Community Animal Health. But a community case report study includes a whole section about the particulars of the shelter in the community. So you can look at it and say, does this match what I'm dealing with in my community? Would this work where I am? And we're including as many details as we can objectively so that you can make that judgment. So yeah, we just want to offer another option for somewhere that we saw, well, they experienced a gap at Loudoun County, that here's a group of people and cats that we can help in a different way. And we want to offer that to other communities that might have a similar gap.
So I'm going to throw a wrench in the conversation for you, Dr. Dalrymple, and give you a challenging question, being the trap, neuter, return proponent that you are. For an organization that only does trap, neuter, return, and I know there have been concerns and conversations about returning friendly cats back out into the community, I would recommend this as a tool for them, that not just sheltering organizations. If there's a cat out there where they're feeding community cats and there's a new cat and they feel it needs assistance or needs support, wouldn't a trap, neuter, return group also do the collar routine?
I think that sounds very interesting. And perhaps we could do another study. Yes, because actually that'll reflect back on a previous study I did with Dr. Rachel Chrysler, who was a co-author on this paper as well, on ear tipping. And we did a survey of ear tipping methods on cats in the United States. That was in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery. There's actually a new follow-up where we did a randomized controlled trial of what the best ear tip method was. But in any case, in that survey, we asked about the meaning of the ear tip and which cats should be ear tipped. And there was a difference of opinion depending on where you were, things like that. So some people considered just a marker of sterilization. Others thought it indicated vaccination and or level of socialization. So that's where it comes into what you're talking about, a friendly cat getting ear tipped. What does the ear tip mean? And does socialization stay constant? And can you really mark that? Anyway, lots of good questions. And I love that. And yeah, if the TNR group wants to do some research, that could be really cool.
I think that would be an excellent idea, because I do think that there may be some stresses between more of the traditional sheltering world and the TNR, trap, neuter, return world. I think that there are some stresses that we are feeling right now, and that might be a way to alleviate some of that stress. I don't know, Nina, if you have a comment on that topic.
Yeah, I think that definitely was one of our challenges here, is that some of the local nonprofits who are involved in TNR had mixed feelings about whether or not we should be doing this for friendly cats. They really do not feel, some of them felt that cats should never be outdoors unless they're part of a feral colony. And while, of course, we know that indoor is always safest for cats, it is not the reality for many cats in this country and across the world. So you're not going to be able to make people keep their friendly cats inside. So you have to recognize those are part of our population. Those are the animals that impact everything that all of us do, whether it's TNR or sheltering or law enforcement. So really making sure you get through and help them understand the statistics as well, and recognize that there is data behind this decision. This is not just us trying to save money for the shelter, which I will say it does. This is not just us trying to keep animals out of shelter, which I will say it also does. This is an opportunity for us to really do right by cats of all different ages and sizes and locations. But we want to have everybody on board. forward. And not all organizations are going to support this, but if there are TNR groups in the area or nonprofits in the area who engage with outdoor free roaming or community cat, we want to make sure they understand the why behind what it is that we do, because there's a lot of benefit in a program like this.
I'm thinking also about the fact that an unsterilized or unspayed or neutered or unfixed friendly indoor-outdoor cat is going to be an indoor-outdoor cat, not an indoor-only cat. And there may be an opportunity for those owned cats to become indoor cats once they're spayed or neutered.
Well, and one of the things we found is that any person who claimed ownership over one of these cats that was found through the program was wearing a collar. The owners would reach out to us. We would then say to them, hey, can we offer you a free microchip? Can we offer you free spay neuter? Can we offer your cat free vaccinations? And we would offer them those opportunities. Overwhelmingly, we're very fortunate that most of those cats that were part of this program were already sterilized, but it gave us another chance to sort of build that bridge with members of the community, help them understand that we are here as a resource for you. We want to help everybody do the right thing because, as you said, a lot of people don't realize that a lot of habits that they put cats outside for are pretty easily remedied if you are spaying and neutering them, and then they can become those indoor companions we'd hope for.
So, Nina, if folks are interested in finding out more about your organization, how would they do that? Or finding out more about this program?
Yes. So I'm always happy to talk about this program all day, every day. The more people learn about it, the better for everyone. So they are welcome to reach out to us. The easiest way would be at animals@loudoun.gov. And that's animals with an S at Loudoun, LOUDOUN.gov. And you are welcome to take a look at our website, which is also opposite, which is loudoun.gov/animals to learn about our organization. But if you want to reach out to us at animals@loudoun.gov, just say attention to Nina. I am more than happy to give you any information that we have, our materials, our flyers, our flow charts, our instructions for staff to execute this program successfully.
All right. I'm first on the list. Send that stuff away. I would love to share it at our Community Cat Program Management class that we have at the University of the Pacific. And I think people would love that idea, would just love it. So I'm first on the list there. And Dr. Dalrymple, is there anything that you'd like to share with our listeners today as we close out?
Well, as I said, we have submitted our article for publication and hopefully it will be published soon. So I'll just promote the Journal of Shelter Medicine and Community Animal Health. We like to call it JASMCOSH for short. And the website is jsmcah.org.
Super. And I want to circle back actually and have you, Dr. Dalrymple, looking at those statistics. You said, was it a 9% overall reduction? Can you just summarize those statistics again from your study?
Oh, sure. So this is from the abstract. So over 80% of the Tag Your Home program cats did not require shelter intake, with a 31% confirmed RTO, return to owner rate. The program reduced intake of adult stray cats by 9% while maintaining similar RTO rates.
Fantastic. I think those are pretty substantial numbers, pretty impressive. So I wanted to just double check and make sure everybody heard those numbers. And I want to thank you both for joining us today. Thank you for agreeing to be a guest on the show. And I hope we'll have you on again in the future.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
That's it for this week. Please head over to Apple Podcasts and leave a review. We love to hear what you think, and a 5-star review really helps others find the show. You can also join the conversation with listeners, cat caretakers, and me on Facebook and Instagram. And don't forget to hit follow or subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss a single show. Thanks for listening, and thank you for everything that you do to help create a safe and healthy world for cats.